Hello guys, it's me again Aswat and welcome to another storytelling podcast. And for today's podcast, I'm going to talk about the secret history of Korea. South Korea, North Korea, whatever you want to call it. But this is a secret history that happens during World War II. Okay, everybody love Korea now. The music, the drama, the films. But a lot of people doesn't know. A lot outside people doesn't know about the secret history of Korea. And but for me, this is a very interesting part of Korea that you need to understand. To understand their movies, their stories, their kind of thinking, just to share with you. If you find any of this important, could be useful to you to understand Korea a bit more, please like and subscribe, Okay, so what am I talking about? The secret history of Korea. This is not a secret history for people in Korea. In fact, people in Korea until today think about this part of the history a lot. And that part, this secret history is called the Traitors of Korea, otherwise known as the 5 Ilsa Traitors. EULSA. 5 Eulsa Traitors. So anybody who understands, who have studied history of Korea would know this story. So the 5 Eulsa Traitors refers to 5 government servants that served under the Emperor Gojong from Korea. And these 5 traitors signed a treaty with Japan. And the treaty is called the Ilsa Treaty, EULSA. It was signed in 1905. Now, what that means, what the significance of that, is that Korea has these 5 people and the emperor has give Korea to Japan. They surrender their country to Japan because of this treaty. The 5 Eulsa Traitors, they are government ministers. They were under, because then they have an emperor. I won't call it great. This is much reviled. People are angry about these people and the emperor. And what they did, they basically sell Korea to Japan. And these 5 people became very, very rich in their lifetime. But the people of Korea hates them until today. And even after the war, it's very well known that one of the traitors, the people actually dig up the grave and destroyed the body of the traitor. Okay. So how is this significant to Korea movies, Korea stories, Korea mindset, and the significance of that even today? Now, you hear about my previous podcast about the Korean ferry tragedy, and also touching on South Korea has a lot of corruption cases in, the prime minister also, the previous prime minister was corrupt. The Samsung president, a lot of the businesses are corrupt. And Korea also have one of the most, dog eat dog dog literally a kind of world. People are struggling to survive. Um, so how does the secret history has that impact on Korea? It has a very great impact because it teaches the people of Korea that betrayal above all else is not acceptable in their society. They are still fighting traitors of Korea. The Ilsa Traitors was specific at that time, but the situation with that situation of the traitors teach Koreans until today not to trust their authorities, not to trust their people in higher group. And people in the higher group would sell their country and exploit the people and make the people suffer. They don't care about the normal people. That is the lesson of that Ilsa Traitors have on the mindset of the Koreans until today. You can Google it if you don't believe me, but I'm just sharing with you because I know we enjoy Korean music, Korean drama, Korean movies, but we hardly understand, them as a people. Why is there so much corruption in Korea? Why are people, writing? There is a class distinction of class: the rich, the powerful, and the poor. There is a very distinct gap between the two group of people. And the Eulsa Traitors, they were not rich people. They were basically ministers appointed by the people to help the people. Instead, what these people do, they sell off their country and the people to Japan. You can read about it. And this betrayal is happening until today. So Korean people, besides being anti-Japanese because of this, but they were very, very, against people who would sell off their country, who would betray them. And this is the secret history that I don't think a lot of people know. So if you watch their movies, they has this very strong revenge kind of storyline. If you watch their drama or movies, they have a lot of intrigue, mystery, how the rich reacts. If you watch their drama, they romanticize the rich, the rich people. You don't see the poor people in their drama. In the Korean drama, you don't see that much. It's not focusing on the poor people. They romanticize these people, the beautiful people, the rich people, the high life. Even in their music, if you look at, the BTS or whoever right now, Korean pop stars, or even Gangnam Style, even the word Gangnam, is about this society of rich people. Gangnam is a rich people district. So there is this kind of, in Korean society, this is the goal for a lot of people. Like they push this to be rich, to be upper class, to be, on what do you call it, the social class of the higher ups. So they create all this kind of movies and TV shows, but also the smart TV shows will show the poor people struggle. But you don't see that in K-drama. I don't see that a lot in K-drama. The K-drama, Korean drama, where I mentioned that, they always show the rich people lifestyle, the rich people grouping. I hardly see that, the poor, because that is the society of Korea. And the story about the attitude about revenge, vengeance, uh, going up against authority is there in the movies and whatnot, because of the secret history of the 5 Ilsa traitors. That's really embedded, that struggle between the rich who will oppress the poor, exploit the poor. That is shown in their culture today. There is a recent movie that came out called Parasite. Parasite is an amazing movie that really explore all this, between the difference between the upper class, the lower class, and if you saw the movie, there is a secret inside the game, inside the big house, which is, I'm gonna spoil it anyway. I think everybody have seen it. Hopefully you have seen it, and because that really shows Korea. There's in the movie there are rich people, there are poor people, and there is a secret basement where nobody talks about. That, if you watch the movie, if you learn about this Korean history, Korean culture, the secret basement is North Korea. No, it's true. It's North Korea. The rich house is South Korea, the higher up, and the poor family is the poor in Korea. They are almost on the same level as the North Korean. You hear a lot about suicide, about the class struggle. The rich doesn't care about the poor, because there is a very huge insecurity in the people there, between the rich and the poor. They will try to oppress the poor. The poor almost doesn't have any voice. Only in Korea, I think, the focus is by the culture. If you listen to the music, the drama and whatnot, is the obsession about the upper class, higher class. The poor, is not really, it's called undesirable. It's not really being focused at all about the people who are living as farmers, fishermen, people who are living in the countryside. It's not the focus of their culture. It's not a desirable goal to be part of that. That's why I say in the beginning, Korean society is a very dog-eat-dog world. People kill themselves. Sometimes you believe, when you hear about people, celebrity suicide, people ask me, oh, look, she is so beautiful. Why did she kill herself? Do you want to know why? Because among the beautiful people, there are more beautiful people every year. More and more beautiful people. And the last year people feel very, very insecure. And that insecurity builds up this depression. Because like I said, the culture is very, very, dog eat dog, very class struggle in Korea is real. So they feel really let down, and they will kill themselves. You hear suicide rate in Korea very high because of that, because of this kind of culture. They don't want to go down the ladder. Like in the movie Parasite again, they hate living like the poor people. They don't want to go down the ladder. That is not the desirable. The desirable is to Gangnam style themselves, to Busan themselves, to live in the higher upper level of society. Now, I said this video is about the secret history of Korea. Again, the lesson from the 5 Eulsa traitors that awakened people in Korea want to teach this thing to the people there, that this has happened before. Do not be the traitor that would sell your country for money, that would exploit the poor for money. That is the lesson now that Korea, the people who are awakened, the scholars, they want to teach this value to not be so classist, because they identify this is the big problem in Korea. I think in a lot of Asian society, this is a big, huge problem, the class difference, the poor and the rich. That's why, again, I explain why there are so many suicide cases among beautiful people, beautiful celebrities. Yeah, it's such a dog-in-dog world. They are so traumatized to be poor. It's so undesirable. And, because of the history of their country is structured in such a way. And that's my video, my podcast, about to share with you the secret history of Korea. I hope you can Google it and learn more. Like I said, it's called the 5 Eulsa Traitors, Eulsa Traitors. Very, very significant role in the country mindset, culture until today. And you can ask them, you can Google them, you can read about their commentaries. There's so many research has been done on this. But if you're not from Korea, you just get their fantasy, the K-drama and music. They are selling you their own fantasies about their own, people who are living in the clouds. That's it. But you hardly look at the story about the common people, common men who are, just living simple life. It's always the high class focus of the dramas, that get the attention. And that's all. That's my podcast. And so hopefully this something can be useful. So hopefully you learn something new. And okay, so thank you for your time, for coming here, and have a good evening, morning, day, wherever you are. Please like and subscribe. Thank you again. Bye.